Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am Martha Brown, your host for today's activities. Today we are presenting, we did Buddy Bray, we did Melodic Memories, and now we are presenting Where in the World is Heather, which is led by Heather White. Heather, I know you have a good story for us, and I want you to take it away.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm unmuted. Yeah, thank you so much, Martha. Today on Where in the World is Heather, I want to start by sharing just a little bit of information about how the program operates. So I travel occasionally, some for business, some for pleasure, but I like to take in the world around me as I travel. And so I thought, how fun would it be to put it all into a program and share it with all of you? So the name of the program is Where in the World is Heather. Currently, I'm at my home, but I've recently traveled and journaled or documented that travel. And I'd love to talk to you about it today. But the way this program works is I will share clues about where I am. And at the beginning of the program, the clues are very broad, and I would love your thoughts about where I might be, what area or region I'm traveling to. And as the program continues, the clues become more specific, and hopefully you'll be able to guess where I am. So we can go ahead and get started. I will share my screen. And do you have any questions, or have you ever done a program like this before?
No.
Have you traveled a lot?
Yeah, we have traveled. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite destination?
We used to love San Francisco, which I consider the best couples town in the world.
Why is it the best couples town?
There's just so many good restaurants, so many fun things to do. It's a good walking city.
It's
Yeah.
different, you know. We're living in Texas and going over there is, you know, a different place. So it was interesting and we enjoyed it. Still have, yeah.
That's nice. That's awesome. I went to San Francisco. The only time I've ever been, I went about 10 years ago. And I think my favorite part, besides the food, was they have trolleys. Taking people around. And I found that interesting.
You did?
We went out there one time, spent a week, and we stayed in a hotel at Union Square. We ate 3 meals a day in restaurants. We came back from that trip, and each of us had lost weight.
Wow.
Possible.
Because we walked everywhere, up and down the hill.
It was amazing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, we can get started. Can you guys see my screen?
That's pretty.
All right. Now, I can't take credit for all of the photographs. Some of them I pulled from the internet because they were better quality or a better angle than mine. But we will get started with some very broad clues about where I am. And I would love if you guys would try to guess my location. So a few clues. I'm in the United States.
Okay.
I'm in a location named after another country. I'm in a state with the highest capital city in the United States that sits at 7,000 feet above sea level. And I'm in an area that leads the nation in the output of uranium and potassium salts, and is the country's top producer in perlites, a type of glass that's used in insulation. So they're not big on vegetation or any other product they send out. Any clues so far based on what I told you and the picture? No,
Not a clue. Nope.
not a clue.
I'm thinking Colorado.
Oh, well, not too terribly far. Hint, hint, hint. This is another picture of that same area, and the picture seems quite different than the one
Thinking
before.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
You're thinking New Mexico? Okay. Getting warmer.
Maybe. Oh.
But I
Yeah.
didn't
So
realize Santa Fe was that high, so I'm trying to get that 7,000.
you're working on it. Yeah.
You're working on it.
I know they
Go
call,
Phil.
I know
Got
they
your
call
wheels
Denver the
turning.
Mile
Yeah.
High City.
They call Denver the
So
mile.
that's a little over 5,000 feet. So this
What's
is
the Mile
kind of-
High City?
Denver is what he said.
I
Oh,
call that the Mile High City, so.
The mile.
that's wild. I didn't know that, and I learned something new.
You didn't know
So-
that.
I didn't. This is an educational event for me too.
Good.
So this location that I'm in, it has Native American tribes, including the Apache, Zuni, Navajo, and Pueblos lived on this land. And in 1540, Spanish explorer Francisco Vasquez de Coronado came to the area in search of cities made of gold that were rumored to exist in the Americas. I'm going to stop there for a minute. At what point in time do you hear that there are whole cities made of gold and you believe it? That just seems so far-fetched.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
I agree with that.
But he was on a mission. He was going to discover it. And of course, he did not discover any treasure, but over the next century, the Spanish did end up colonizing this area that I traveled to.
It sounds
And in
like before the covered wagons.
Probably. So in 1821, Mexico declared its independence from Spain. And the area that I traveled to, it became part of Mexico. But after the United States won the Mexican-American War in 1848, this area became a U.S. territory. And in 1912, it was declared the 47th state.
Really.
Any clues, Phil? I see you processing information between your ears.
Phil's
Yeah,
traveled
really.
a lot.
I'm still leaning towards New Mexico.
All right. You are correct. I'm at a location in New Mexico.
Got it, Philip.
Woohoo!
The other day on one of our videos, we were doing virtual confetti to celebrate. So there you go. All right, I'm going to keep on going with the clues and see if you can. Oh, you know what? There was a video I was going to show you. Give me just a moment.
Okay, we will.
You still see my screen?
I see
Yep.
you.
We see
You
you.
see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't see your
I'll take-
screen. Every time you stop sharing, you have to click share screen again.
Okay, good.
Good
I
to
was,
know.
say that again. What's the last thing you said?
Good to know.
It is good to know.
Mhm.
There is a clip, it's about a minute long, and I wanted to show that to you. Let me get back to sharing my screen. Okay. So I am in New Mexico, but I'm not in a town that Bugs Bunny famously missed his turn in. Are you guys Bugs Bunny fans?
Well, yeah, we know about Bugs Bunny, but I know about New Mexico. So.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to start sharing a clip that I found online. And we can watch Bugs Bunny for just a minute.
Okay.
Say, you know, I knew I should have made a left turn at Albuquerque. Don't look much like Los Angeles to me. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
Well, here I am. Hey, just a cotton-picking minute. This don't look like the Coachella Valley to me. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
Let's see now, South Pole? Oh, I get it. I should have turned left at Albuquerque. Well, here we are, Pismo Beach, and all the clams we can eat.
What a way for a duck to travel. Underground.
Hey, wait a minute. Since when is Pismo Beach inside a cave? I wonder, I just bet we should have turned left at Albuquerque. And then maybe a right turn at La Jolla.
I knew I should have made that left turn in Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's funny.
My grandfather used to, we would be working outside or he'd be on a project, and he would inevitably stop and say, "Oh, Bugs Bunny's on. We have to stop. We have to go inside and watch it." We would sit down and have tea or a sandwich and watch Bugs Bunny.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
How wonderful of your grandfather to do that.
He knew how to have fun, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was just using Bugs Bunny as a scapegoat so he could take a nap, but whatever, he's a smart man. So where in the world is Heather? I am in New Mexico, but I'm not in Albuquerque. And other fun facts about New Mexico, in case you didn't know, there's a Roswell Ufo Museum. You guys have heard of Roswell, New Mexico.
Area 51.
Area
I
51.
bet Phil
Folks,
has.
So I'll tell you.
Phil,
a
have
fun
you
thing-
been to that museum?
Phil wants to tell you something.
A fun thing about Roswell, they have a museum there
Mhm.
that honors these rocketeer Goddard,
Okay.
who was one of the earliest rocket developers in the United States. And
Uh-huh.
inside that museum, they have a tremendous collection of art that's from Peter Hurd and Henriette Wyeth. Just really, if you ever get to Roswell, you have to go there. It's a delightful little surprise in that town.
That's so neat.
Mhm.
Paulette, have you been to Roswell, New Mexico?
Yeah, with Philip.
Uh-huh.
We've been there, and I took Paulette through it. I was stationed in Roswell with the Air
Really?
Force.
Really?
Yeah,
I met
What-
my first wife there.
yeah. I'm his
So
second.
I have
He
some Roswell.
knows how to do it right now, huh?
Yeah.
Fixed all of his
But
mistakes.
I never
Perfect
met the
marriage.
little people from the UFO.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh,
Did they have the
shucks.
did they have like little aliens sitting around everywhere and kind of build up the feel
Well,
of it, the story?
To me, that stuff all started developing. I was one of the last people to leave the gate at the Air Force Base in Roswell when they closed it down.
Oh,
And
really?
I think that Air Force Base was just such a huge economic driver to the city
Mm.
that when they closed it down, they were looking for other things, and that's when all the alien stuff started popping up. It wasn't there so much when I was there.
Oh, really? That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. When were you there? When did you leave?
I left there in 1965.
Okay. Yeah,
Long-
the
long
crash. Say that again.
Long time ago, yeah.
Oh, it's just a few days ago. Oh,
1965, yeah.
that's so funny. Well, that's kind of neat. I didn't realize that you were in the Air Force too. Thank you for your service.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely,
Thank
Phil.
you.
Yeah.
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 Only a short time, 20 years, 7 months, and 5 days.
Well, you got that. You hit that 20-year mark. That's a beautiful thing. So did you
Where-
know that there are a few famous people from New Mexico? And Martha informed me the other day that John Denver did not wasn't born and grew up in New Mexico, but he did live there for a time. And Jeff Bezos that started Amazon, he's from New Mexico. And then there's a famous artist, Georgia O'Keeffe. She has a number of different pieces that she's known for. She's from New Mexico as well.
We're familiar with her, yeah.
I don't think she's from New Mexico. I think she's from like someplace on the East Coast, but she
currently
built a home in
lives
New
there.
Mexico,
Mhm.
and that's where she does most of her painting, or
Mhm.
a lot of her painting.
Wow.
She has a number of stores and boutiques and things that exclusively sell her stuff in New Mexico too. It's kind of neat. And do either of you guys have any
She was
turquoise
married to a
pieces?
photographer named Stiglitz, and they were from New York, I think.
Yes, Alfred Stieglitz.
Yeah.
Alfred Stieglitz,
That's neat.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what their home looks like with two amazing artists?
We've actually been up there at Ghost Ranch, and we've gone through her home. Paulette and I took a trip up there and visited around there.
Was it beautiful?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
A lot
You
of
I
know,
can only imagine.
a lot of her paintings
New
were up the
Mexico is
house.
like a lot of places in the West. It's a unique landscape. It's the light makes the landscape. Whether it's in the morning light or the afternoon light, it changes so much. It's really beautiful
Yeah.
though.
It is. Do either of you guys have any pieces that have turquoise in them? Any jewelry or anything with turquoise?
I bet Paulette does.
I don't think Paulette has any turquoise.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So New Mexico in a lot of ways is known for its turquoise, and there's a ton of kind of abstract jewelry with turquoise in them. But today, most of the mines have very little turquoise left, and that's what makes pieces of turquoise a little bit more expensive now. So if you do come across any pieces with turquoise, you might hold on to it. The value is supposed to be increasing, is what I hear.
Okay.
When
Oh.
Paulette and I were dating, all the ladies were wearing squash blossom necklaces with turquoise in them.
Really?
Yes,
That was the thing.
they were huge back then.
Oh, yeah.
So a couple of places that popped in to see. There is a place in this location in New Mexico I visited called Canyon Road. It's the main road running through town, and it's a prime destination for art lovers. So there are stores and boutiques and exhibits that display various types of art.
Yep.
And that was really pretty interesting to see. There's also the Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis, and it is known for some amazing architecture. That is the picture at the bottom of your screen.
Beautiful.
Oh, it is, yeah.
The picture in the middle of the screen that looks like a ballerina, that was taken on Canyon Road as well. That's actually a bird bath underneath her. It's like her dress kind of bells out, and it's filled with water. And it was in this little courtyard kind of area. And then at the top of your screen, you can see a ladder going into this cavernous kind of area. That's the Bandelier National Monument. And for centuries before the Europeans invaded North America, the Southwest was divided into a number of different city-states governed by various Native American tribes or different groups. And this national monument, visitors can go and explore the remnants of one of these settlements And it's at the base of the Frijoles Canyon. And there are all of these caves and little inlets that you can go to and see where rocks and things were formed, and people would gather together and sit or for some reason come together. But a lot of them are elevated, and the only way to get up and into those areas is by these old rickety wooden ladders.
Wow.
So it's kind of a neat little thing. You have to actually climb the wooden ladder to get into the caves to go explore.
For the young people.
For the,
Yeah, really.
yes. There is, so I was talking to Martha the other day about this. Let me see if I can not do full screen. Just one second. I was talking to Martha the other day about this, and there is there's another little story about a chapel or a cathedral that was in this area I'm in as well. Let me see if I can find, there's a story.
Downtown Santa Fe.
Yeah, is that where it's
Downtown Santa Fe, yeah.
Nice, nice.
It's almost on the square.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. There was this mysterious little story that went along with it. Let me see if I can get back to it and share my screen again. And I want to.
What time of year were you in Santa Fe?
I was there in August.
Well, I'm trying to remember when the opera is there.
Oh, we were there just as
A
the
little
opera
early,
started.
15 maybe?
Maybe it was October. I was there for a conference, and one of the last nights they were all going to go to the opera, but I didn't want to go, which was stupid. I should have wanted to.
You should have done it.
I should have done it.
Shoulda,
I guess
coulda,
it was
woulda.
October.
That's so funny. I'm gonna try. Let me see if I can.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna have to stop sharing again. Let me get down here. I'm gonna get this pulled up again. I'm trying to get to where I can share my screen, but then also see the talking points. I may have to do it this way. I know what I'll do. I'm gonna outsmart technology and just use a totally different device. That's what I'm gonna do.
Good for
Okay.
you.
Get them.
If I can't have two pictures pulled up at one time, I'll use my telephone.
There you go. We saw
I can
we
read
saw
from
the-
my
we saw the staircase. You had it up
Did you?
just a second ago.
good. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So, Martha, how did you end up seeing this, go into this Loretto Chapel and hearing the story about it?
Yes, I did. When I was there on a conference, and I was busy like 9 to 4 every day. And my husband went with me, but he wasn't part of the conference. So he loved to shop. He would go all over Santa Fe. And then when I would get through, he'd say, "Oh, I found this really great place. Here's a good place to eat. Here's a good place to look at." And he's the one who found this chapel.
And he was like your own little personal tour guide.
Oh, he was. It was wonderful.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this chapel that I came across. And so I'll read you a quick story about it. Now, the story does not mention anything about the structure of these staircases. I want you to notice there's not a central spine going down these staircases, and there isn't any structure on the outside that keeps it in place and keeps it from, gravity from taking its toll. So part of the mystery around these staircases is, how is it even still standing?
Mhm.
So in the 1800s, there were 7 nuns that set up a school for girls. And when it was time, they built a chapel. This is where the legend of Loretto Chapel staircases began. And ever since, faithful visitors have been flocking to this church to get a peek at the miraculous chapel stairs. Constructed in the popular Gothic Revival style, the whole chapel was designed by renowned French architect Antoine Mouly, M-O-U-L-Y.
Sounds
Does that
good.
sound right? Sure, we're going to go with Mouly.
Movie sounds good.
Unfortunately, Mouly, the architect and designer of the chapel, he never lived to see his work completed. The structure was sound and it was almost finished by 1878. The only thing that was lacking was a means to ascend to the choir loft above. The chapel was not the largest sanctuary in the world, so a standard staircase was ruled to be too large to be practical. Other churches and chapels of the same period had ladders as opposed to stairs, but the sisters, the nuns, quickly dismissed the idea due to their attire. Without a way to reach the loft, the chapel would not be able to function properly. While the likely proposals, suggestions, and ideas were being debated by members of the construction industry, the sisters considered this to be nothing more than a test of their faith. And I need to go back. Let me stop for just a moment. Let me get the rest. Who was it that said, and now the rest of the story?
Oh, Harvey, Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey.
And he would break for a commercial or something, and then he would come back and say, and now the rest of the story.
Oh, that takes me back. He's dead decades ago. Wow.
You guys listen to Paul Harvey and all of his
I did when he was live, yeah.
all of his recordings. Yeah. Let me share my screen and go back. Okay. So I thought it was interesting too. The nuns didn't want to use a ladder. I mean, quite obviously didn't want people seeing, up their attire. So they had to figure out something different. And they were thinking about this problem they had as a test of their faith. So sometime around 1880, they began to pray to Saint Joseph. And Saint Joseph is known as the patron saint of carpenters. And they began to pray to Saint Joseph to help with the solution for the chapel stairs. And on the 9th day of prayer, a visitor arrived at their door with his mule and some tools. No supplies to build these staircases, only a mule and some tools. And the first thing the man revealed to the sisters was that he was a carpenter by trade. And he was invited in and discovered the dilemma left behind with the untimely passing of the original architect. The solo workman, likely, unlike many tradesmen that had taken a look at this before, he said that it was possible to construct a useful staircase to the loft without becoming an eyesore in the available space. And the only condition he placed upon the sisters, the nuns that were living there, was that he would have to work in private. The sisters were only too pleased to agree to these terms, and it meant getting their staircase done. And so while they used the chapel for other activities, the carpenter retreated, returning only when the chapel was empty. Some of the sisters did state that they saw wood soaking in tubs that was provided for him. Reports made at that time do contradict one another, though. And some insist that construction was completed quickly, while others reported it took longer than might have been necessary. Eventually, the carpenter disappears. The plot thickens.
Ooh.
So while the spiral staircase was finished, the sisters were delighted with how it turned out, so much so that they organized a banquet in honor of the carpenter. This was when he was discovered to have been missing. At no time during his work did he identify himself. He never asked for nor received any payment for his labor or even for supplies. Exactly who this man was just one of the many mysteries surrounding the Loretto Chapel staircase.
Wow.
Have you guys heard this story before?
Nope.
No?
Mm-mm.
It sounds like it's full of mystery.
Yes.
So one of the other mysteries around this staircase, there's no central column or support beams, and it appears that all the weight is self-supported at the base somehow. The craftsman did not use any nails or any glue. He only used wooden pegs to secure the steps. And additionally, there's no railing. The legend says that some of the nuns were so afraid to descend the 22-foot drop that they would crawl down the stairs on their hands and knees.
Oh my word.
There are only 33 steps. However, the staircase wraps around 360 degrees twice. The number 33 is a significant number, being the age of Jesus at his crucifixion. The sisters were adamant that it was Joseph himself that came to their rescue, that Saint Joseph that they prayed to. Thus, people have given the stairs a nickname, Saint Joseph Staircase. When local trade suppliers were contacted in an effort to track down the craftsmen, none of them could help with their inquiries in any way. There was no bill of sale that could be retrieved for any lumber. And no one knows what type of lumber this was. So modern analysis have been done, revealing the wood to be some type of spruce, but the variety nobody's familiar with. It was concluded that the closest possible locale for the wood of this type would have been from somewhere in Alaska.
Wow.
Why would a Victorian carpenter transport scores of lumber with nothing more than a mule, just in the off chance that he might be needed to build a staircase thousands of miles away?
Yeah.
And there, my friends, is the mystery of Loretto Chapel. Thank you, Martha Brown, for introducing that to us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
We're going to keep on going. So we have confirmed where in the world is Heather. Heather's in New Mexico. And the area I'm in, the quaint character and colors of this town that I'm in are what make this little area so beautiful. You can also ski in this area that I traveled to, but I didn't do that. Maybe later. Have you guys ever snow skied?
Once.
No.
Once.
Did you like it, Martha, when you tried it?
I did. And what's wonderful is that I did a bunny slope to learn how, and then I skied all of one day and I never fell. But I wasn't really thrilled about skiing, and I would much rather sit in the lodge and read a book. So I never did it again. But I've done it enough to say I've done it.
Tried it once, huh?
Yeah.
Phil, have you ever done any snow skiing?
In Europe, years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Before.
I did. But, I used to tell people, I said, the secret of it is to go out of the lodge, rub some snow on your face, go back in the lodge and say words like Christy and Shushing and stuff like that, and drink a hot drink and just enjoy yourself.
Don't say you did, huh?
Yay, Phil.
Exactly.
That's so funny. So I know you guys were talking about Santa Fe earlier. That's exactly where I traveled to. So if you suspected I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, you are correct.
Okay.
So it did snow quite a bit while we were there. And one of the places that I went into, I thought it was just too funny. I had to add it to this slideshow. There was a restaurant we went into, and they had 2 restrooms. And you would traditionally think a ladies and a gentleman, 2 restrooms. But they had one sign on one restroom that said, I can see it in the top right-hand corner. It said, man, woman, Sasquatch, alien, whatever you are, just make sure you wash your hands when you leave. And there was another sign on the other bathroom door that for some reason it had a sticky note on it, and it said it was closed until 5 p.m. I wonder would a restroom be closed until 5 p.m.? I have no idea.
I forget the name of the restaurant, but there's a restaurant on the square in Santa Fe that Paulette and I enjoyed that had a community table.
Oh,
You go in there and, it was a big table, probably set 12 people, I guess.
Mhm.
And we went in there for breakfast and people were just coming and going and you'd carry on conversations with whoever was there. And
Meet all
people-
kinds of new people. How fun is that?
I
since we
know,
were not local, people were telling us what to do and where to go and
yeah,
things to see. It was
yeah.
just a cool experience, you
it
know?
was.
That's so neat. I wonder if they still have that now, or if they're trying to keep people, separated, and that would be
Well,
fun.
the restaurant was a famous restaurant in Santa Fe.
Okay.
And it was famous for that community table. So if
Oh.
any restaurant is still going, I bet it is.
I'm
I
sure.
bet. That's so fun. Oh, what a cool experience.
Yeah.
There was a
So,
restaurant.
this is,
It's kind of a coincidence, Martha, that we were talking about our experience there with Paulette losing her bracelet before we started this thing.
Isn't that funny?
I know.
Yeah, the world is just so small.
so good. So, Santa Fe, it is 7,000 feet above sea level. So it's the highest capital city. It's also the oldest capital city in the United States. There are 23 Native American tribes, nations, and pueblos that reside in New Mexico, and each tribe comprises its own sovereign nation. So the rules, languages, culture, they change, they differ so drastically depending on what group you're visiting. And Santa Fe is also known for its Margarita Trail. I wish I knew about this whenever I was there,
Oh my.
but they have through Main Street, they have different restaurants and stores, 45 of them that are all lined up, and they are known to have their own unique margarita. So you can travel this Margarita Trail and go to all these different stores and try 45 different
Wow.
margaritas.
That's a lot.
I don't know that anybody has ever started and finished all 45. That's a
I
gutsy
think
thing
you
to do.
need to hire an Uber for the first one. Say, just take you from
Isn't that the
at
truth?
the restaurant or bar to bar.
Yeah, really.
That's so
Like
funny,
that,
yeah.
Phil.
And then, of course, it's also one of the largest art markets in the United States, where there are several famous artists and writers that live there, specifically in Santa Fe. So there you go, my friends.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
For your
Wow.
question,
When-
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Do you know when you're coming back to our 1:30 program again? Do you have any idea?
I have it on another screen. Let me pull it up. And
Okay.
what's so funny is when you called, I had my calendar in front of me, but I hadn't written it down on my calendar. And $5 says I'm going to do that when we disconnect.
Ooh, okay.
Good.
Well, thank you for this. It brought back
Yeah.
a lot of fun memories for Paulette and I of
Absolutely.
our time in Santa Fe and
Yeah.
we spent so much time in New Mexico doing different things that
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
we
Well,
took
this
we
was
took
just-
a road trip with a couple that's very good friends of ours, and he's actually from Albuquerque.
Mm,
And we drove up there, and we drove all over from Santa Fe up to Red River, all around and back. We did the with the hot springs baths. I forget where that is.
yes, that's in Pagosa. They're known for their Pagosa Springs is known for their bath. You just drive into the town and the whole town smells like sulfur.
Oh, wow. Red River was where I did my one thing with snow skiing.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be, there's a chance that I'll be doing another Where in the World is Heather next week.
Ooh, okay.
I just need to get it confirmed first. And then, of course, I'm guessing you guys are getting the emails that are sent out in the mornings that talk
Yes.
about the program
Yes.
for the day. Okay.
Yes.
We'll
Mhm.
confirm it and send out another one, but you might see the space again next week.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Heather.
Good.
Thank you
Yeah.
Thank you
so
very much. I enjoyed it, Heather.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. And
Well,
I love seeing both of you smile as well. So I'm glad I could create that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what is going to happen. Let's see if I can get my stuff together. Come on, Martha.
Martha.
You know how that
Come on,
goes. Okay, there's some purple.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to recap what we did today. Today at 10:30, we had Buddy Bray on the piano. At 11:30, we had Melodic Memories, which was violin and piano, which was wonderful. Where in the World is Heather is our keystone for today. And then after the weekend is over and we get thawed out on Monday at 10:30, we're going to have Emily Corbin doing Nia, Moving to Heal. At 11:30, we're going to have Emily Corbin doing Nia, Moving to Heal. And at 1:30, we're going to have a game of bingo. And it may be that I call it, and it may be that we have a student. We're not sure about that yet.
But I do know that there's been a long history of beginner's luck with bingo.
Yes. Thank you, Heather.
And then there's somebody who has not won a game since Christmas.
Oh,
That's this couple.
you're overdue.
They are way overdue.
Oh my
Yes, they
gosh.
are.
This has been fun.
It
Thank
has
you, guys.
been. We'll send you some magic fairy dust, Phil and Paulette, for next bingo.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Bye.
See you next week. Be
Bye.
safe.
And now.